What's up, everyone? All right, we are live for another live stream about Helium and some other stuff that some will watch some. Well, we can't look at any content because I'm trying to figure out how to get my OSB virtual cam to work because it's not working right now. So that's a big sad face on that. Let me fix the lighting here so you can see my face. Maybe you don't want to see my face. What's up? If you got some questions, put them down in the chat. We will get to them as soon as we can. Got a couple things. This will probably be a short stream. I've been cranking on some content. I have been working on some stuff for Hotspot that is literally, I think, still posting right now. So you can go ahead and check that out. Kind of covering Hotspot for hosting companies, and then also Hotspot for just kind of earnings analysis and just other information. I mean, it shows you like contours, of the elevation stuff, and as it's variable. So lots of great stuff there. Yeah, check out those Hotspot videos. I reached out to the developers and told them, hey, if I didn't address some areas that you'd like me to hit, or we can watch the comments and see what else is missing out of those Hotspot videos, let me know, add it in the comments, and I'll sure do another video. It's kind of do something crappy the first time, and then you'll sure to get feedback, and so then then you can act from there, kind of. So, hey, we got a couple people in the room. Welcome. If you got some questions, comments that you want to throw in the chat about what's going on with the Helium network, or what all is going on, we'll put that in the comments. So we're going to talk about the network issues here first. I did want to share, Bobcat had a really great information release that I think a lot of people have missed a little bit, and so I wanted to get that information out. And as I can't share my screen right now, I'm just gonna have to read this as much as I can to you. The one thing that I miss about all the manufacturers being in the Helium Discord is that it was very easy to get information around from them. So but yeah, so Bobcat released some information, and they even if or when their products don't work very well, they've always been really diligent to communicating that out, about what to do and how to work with it. And so I love their little dashboard. And I know that a couple of the other manufacturers have those as well. But they released this on 11/11, and this was before the network really started encountering issues. But it was as these firmware updates get cranking out, it's very difficult to get that to propagate through the entire network, especially when there's hotspots that are relayed too, because now you're having to not only update yourself, but also update others in your network, because you're relayed, or they're relayed and you're not, and so you kind of have to carry them on your back. So that can slow things down. So I believe it's BFG Neil has some tools that can help you diagnose communications issues, all sorts. I should find that link, or if you got that link already, throw that in the chat right now, and then I will pull that into the comments and description later on this video. So it's a great tool to just dive into your communication issues and make sure that you crossing everything off the list, so your hotspot is fully communicating and just pretty much always going to be up and working. So so this Bobcat, they basically just the Bobcat update, they first linked to the Helium blog, like, hey, you want the real information, go out to the Helium blog and read their engineering blog there. And so I pulled that up as well. But so as they were updating, they're saying you may temporarily see these displays or errors during the over-the-air update, which are normal and do not require intervention. So the thing that you want to do is you're like, hey, it's not working, I want to restart it, and then you may not realize that it was in the middle of an update and you didn't even know. So then that can start the whole process over again, and who knows how much that's setting it back, right? So what they're saying is that these things are normal and do not require intervention. The LED light turns yellow. The diagnoser cannot be accessed. The miner 5S pages show the error RPC to miner at, and then it gives the home IP address failed. And then the hotspot blockchain height shows unknown. All of these are temporary and you don't need to do anything. The hotspot will go back to normal on its own once the over-the-air update is complete. So think about that and now, does that apply to other manufacturers? I believe so. At least I've seen the block height unknown a couple times. So relayed is still an issue. I thought we would be way past this by now, but this is definitely not. If you're relayed, still take care of it, because these are some things that can really help out the network. I know that they've been screaming this for a while, but it's just another sense to double down on this. Help out the network, help out each other, keep those earnings going. Because if the blockchain stalls, then nobody's earning. And if you're relayed and there's lots of people relayed, then that hurts too. So check out the Helium engineering blog too. I'm going to actually copy and paste these to the live stream comments. So it's update, and then the engineering.helium.com website. Go check those out. I mean, you could hear it from me, but it's better to read it from the source if you have time. So let's see here. Checking some of the comments. I've been waiting since April for my Nebra miner. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it sucked. I see that they keep releasing little batches, little tidbits of hope, but man, it's tough to see the Nebra orders just still holding out. Like the only thing I can say about it is I haven't been paid by Nebra either, and that's not to talk bad about them. Obviously, if they cancel orders and then they paid me, then somehow now they're not going to get that. Like they're out, right, of that money. So I think that's going to be an issue. So not that it's not going to be an issue for me. I'll get paid when I get paid. I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, check out those videos about Hotspotty. That's awesome. Fangirling, that's interesting. Okay. Welcome. I'm glad that there's also ladies in the Helium community that are also present and putting stuff hopefully on their roofs and all that kind of stuff. That'd be fun. There's totally room for more women in the Helium community. So start a YouTube channel. I don't have to be the only one that does this. Okay. What do I think of the 1,000 to 1 split? Do you think it will encourage saturation? So, you may or may not know, we held a vote for the People's Hotspot, which is just a community of current and former hosts for the People's Hotspot. And that's the four miners that we have in UK, Australia, and then 2 in the US here. So all the current and former hosts, I said, hey, this is your money. This is community money that we'd be burning on this vote. What would you like to do? And it was overwhelmingly in favor of redenomination. I think that I just want to give props to the Helium community. If you're on Twitter, or if you're not on Twitter, get on Twitter and start following me, follow others in the Helium space. They're really trying to share information, especially on this 1,000 to 1 split or redenomination, whatever you want to call it. So they're moving decimal points by 3 places. So if you had 100 tokens before, you'd have 100,000 tokens after. I believe I did my math right on that. On the flip side, the earnings will go basically where you might have made a token a day right now, you will make 1,000 tokens in the future, if I did that right. But the value, this is the key thing, is the value of each token will go 3 decimal points in the opposite way. So yes, it looks like the value of HNT is decreasing, but all the balances will be correct across the whole blockchain. And also they're working with exchanges to make sure that this all gets done correctly. And I believe that I really agreed with some of the comments that if it's passed, they need to do it after the end of this year, because that just for tax purposes, that would just cause all kinds of problems if they were to do it before the tax year. And there was people in both camps very much. It's pointless to oh, they got some things, or I'm undecided about it too. I'm fully in favor of it. The major thing that it came down to me was is it worth the time in development? So I have a software development background, and specifically a Scrum Master now. And the key thing is that the most important thing for the product? Is that the most important thing for the Helium blockchain and Helium community and all that kind of stuff? Is it worth it to spend time on that? And that's a legit argument, I think. And so then the other one was about perception of a token. A lot of people like, oh, if it got like, look at Solana, it's up in like $215 or something like that recently. So people think that they missed out on Solana and it might not go anymore or something like that. They're going to be less apt to put their investment into the token if it's a really high price. And so they like to think as it gets if it goes down in value, like if we do the redenomination, then it will trigger a bunch more people investing into it. And there's I'm trying to keep this channel PC as much as I can, but there's a thought that it makes it more like a meme coin or a worthless coin, or if you get the other term I'm trying to dance around, that it equates it to that. And so it's much more apt to a pump and dump type of activities, and that's not all on my experience of crypto stuff. So what do I think of it? I don't know. It's a flip of a coin, I guess. It sounded right to me to at least as I was working with hosts, they would get really sad or frustrated that, especially after the halving, that it was like, oh man, this sucks. I was making 20 tokens, or not 20 tokens a day, but like say 10 tokens a day, and now they're like at 1 token a day, and it just keeps going down so quickly. So if they were seeing whole numbers, it actually did seem to make a difference to them. So I think it would be worthwhile to get us back to the point where we can talk in whole number tokens again. I realize that the math is there, that it's having a high value token would equate to some other stuff. So that's all on economics and all that kind of stuff. I was basically looking at more from the impression of what I'm hearing from my hosts or former hosts, that they were in favor of it as well. And so everybody's got a personal decision. Everybody's got thoughts on it. It's passed, by the way, so it's not like this information will maybe be more in retrospect, about what factored into the decision and the votes themselves. So, good question. Take the time to port forward. Yes, we talked about that. Which antenna Yagi do I recommend? So I don't use a Yagi antenna. You may have seen me reference the Yagi antenna either in my videos or my new profile picture. So the Yagi antenna that's there is strictly for over-the-air TV. It's just for operating TV, watching football games and local weather and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, so I've never experimented with a Yagi antenna. So Yagi antenna is a directional antenna. There are two kinds of antennas: omnidirectional and directional. So the Yagi is kind of like a triangle. It goes off like that, and so it's intended to go in one way. So I think we talked about it in the antennas live stream about which one was helpful. I did see the new Nebra hotspot model. I think that that's a good sign. Anytime product is iterating, that's still, if there's investors behind it, that means that they're still making investments into improving hotspots or into the company such that there's more investment. So I realize that still, Nebra has really taken a reputation hit, up to this point because they can't deliver. If there were issues such that the miners were crapping out and not able to make it for the predetermined time, well, then that kind of insinuates that they need to iterate and they need to pivot. And so a new model, I'm hoping, would be good, but we have many people have been waiting on hope for a long time, and so that I don't think the patience is there for that as well. But I guess if you still have an opportunity to cancel your order or wait, it's up to you. But I got my Nebra. It still is working with all these network issues that have been happening. It has been the one to well, I'd say the racks and the FreedomFi have been pretty much nonstop. But the Nebra and the Bobcat, it seemed like the Nebra was able to come back faster and the Bobcat takes slower. And I know that my Bobcat specifically takes a lot longer time to sync. And I don't know if that's just due to it was a demo unit, but I'd sure welcome your comments. Just because this is my experience doesn't mean it's your experience. So feel free to put your comments in on what you're experiencing across the different manufacturers. I see one question: have I gotten a Finestra yet? I have not. There's a lot of manufacturers that I have not gotten already. Just SenseCap. I haven't gotten SenseCap. Links Dot, I haven't gotten. Finestra, I haven't gotten. There's a bunch of now manufacturers for strictly overseas, which I'd totally be open to because the People's Hotspot is like that program and I think there's honestly no better way to like shop a product around than the People's Hotspot, because it's basically lending them out at 95% earnings with the 5% to the community. And so it's a very, very awesome program to demo your product and have it with the guarantee that it will continue going through the queue of your orders already. So it's in my mind, it's a no-brainer marketing thing, because I manage it. Like the manufacturers should probably be doing it, but that's okay. All right, more comments. How much will Helium be by the end of the year? Oh gosh, I don't even know. Like I was in the big jump when it was like going up to 26, 27, I was thinking that it was going to go to 40, 44 around that time. I was pretty convinced, and then it didn't. And then it like tanked for a bit, and I thought it was going to go down, and then it went all the way up to 40 or 40 and then 50. So, and very quickly. So like, I don't know. Trading is not my skill set yet, but and speculation is not in my skill set. I don't want, you definitely don't want to look to me for trading positions and stuff, because I'm still learning my way in that. Any do's and don'ts when it comes to getting a host? I put some comments in the Hotspotty one for hosting companies. The main thing is getting your information up front and getting the agreement up front. And that's really, I mean, I'd say that for teams, individuals, anybody that you're partnering with, is get your agreements in front. If you're going to experiment with them and have them, malleable, then work it out with them. Of course, at least with my hosts that I worked with, I said I'm open to ownership transfers too, because then I'd get the tokens while I could get them, and they'd be happy, I'd be happy. So yeah, so that's what I'd say. That's the do, or if you're going to do hosting, get their wallet IDs up front, because you don't want to be custodial, have custody of their tokens, because then there's tax implications for that. So that's something else I'd recommend up front. Let's see here. Bought a rack miner in May 2020 and elected to wait for it to ship instead of switching. Did you make a mistake? Well, one of my friends recently like did that. They were in May and they elected to wait, and they actually got it. So I assume that there was a number of them from I assume this is a cal chip order, that a number of people decided to decline and just order in the subsequent one. And he was one of the ones that I'll just wait. because he was actually uh, on the people's hotspot. He was on the list, so he was able to host. And I think it was only like another month between when he was made the decline or accept. So he chose to wait. I think it was another month, and then he got his in the mail. So it was a lot sooner than I expected, because I think he said that it was thinking he was thinking it was going to be January, and I was like, oh, that kind of kills the people's hotspot program a bit, but it works, and we were able to move it through. So let's see here, what else. Um, Oh, antenna holders. Simon, I wonder if you did you 3D print that one? 3D printing is cool. I have not gotten into it yet. That's on my list of things to get into. And especially an antenna holder. I did tell somebody about the Command Broomstick holder, and because they're a new host and new to the Helium network, and they heard about the Command Broomstick thing, and they're like, "Oh my God, that is so genius!" And this that they went out and got them, and then they actually ended up ordering. They put it up and monitor the results. It were okay, so now they just put it outside in such that they put in an enclosure and are waiting to see what their results are. So I'm excited for them. What's the longest coax cable that I've run, and how's your miner performed? So so I assume by coax you mean LMR 400. So my current or my mainstay setup over the like basically since probably last year now has last year, maybe earlier this year, has been 33 feet, 32 feet of, and it's actually two LMR 400 cables with a lightning arrestor in the middle. So I did the lightning arrestor just before the last 5 feet. So you'd have a really long cord coming down from the mast, lightning arrestor, and then a short LMR to the actual miner. And I got a video that highlights that. And that has been my mainstay. It's been, I mean, well, whatever it was last year, before it was my miner, before I got my own miner, it was like pulling in, I don't know, 30 tokens plus a day. And of course that sounds astronomical now. But now it's like I have like same setup, same Primo setup, and it's only pulling in maybe one a day. So it's not like I'm doing anything different. The setup hasn't degraded. It's just, that's what the earnings are now. So it's nice that I can actually compare it to everything else. I have another cluster that I helped make out in rural area, and so it's really isolated from other types of things, and they're all 100% legit installs, and it's about comparable with those setups. I did notice a boost over the last couple of days that the cluster, like as far as parity and earnings, is that they're about the same. So it's nice to see that. I'm also doing some experiments with power over Ethernet and setting that up. It's been pretty good. I run it at that cluster that's in rural. A lot of those are on power over Ethernet setups and been doing pretty well. One of them had a cable issue. I crimped all my own, so I think that there just was an issue with that cable, even though I tested it before. It just seemed to have a problem. So yeah, that all of those are running well and earning. So good to go there. I did get my FreedomFi miner. That's the one I'm using at my main location right now. Of course, I don't have the CBRS radios along with it yet, and so we're just waiting word for that. I think it's gonna be to the new year before they get sent out. So I would like to get an outdoor radio or whatever antenna so that I can do that, see what it's like. We do have an interstate that goes nearby, so hopefully I'll be able to try that out and see what happens. But I don't, like, I've heard it goes a couple blocks, and that was on Amir Halim's Twitter account, that he was talking about his early tests with the 5G was that it went a couple blocks down the road because he went out on a walk and noticed, wow, I still have 5G. So, but other than that, I don't have much information other than the FreedomFi website. They have a really good FAQ to check out. So I would recommend checking that out before anything. I got on a Twitter space a couple of weeks ago, and there was a guy that had like built like his career was in setting up this stuff, like 5G coverage or LTE or whatever you want to call it, cellular uh, backhaul stuff. And so I was very quickly overwhelmed with how complex it was. So they could have tapped the brakes a little bit and said, "Hey, we need to wait a little bit longer, see where the locations are, all that kind of stuff." I don't know, but it's we'll see. We'll see what happens. So one thing about the FreedomFives though is that they work as LoRa miners as well. So you can just use them like any other miner for right now until you get a 5G. Then all of a sudden the race for more airspace, happens again. You want to think if you're doing indoor, you want to think of a coffee shop or some other place that gets lots of foot traffic, even temporary. And then of course outdoor, it still doesn't go through walls very well at all. So you want to think about just line of sight activities. Definitely not in a wooded area. It's not going to have good reception there. So something to think about. What else? Let's see here. Miner availability. So they had the drop for the minted or MNTD miners, and that did not go as expected. In fact, it was like a total flop because the bots out there grabbed everything up. So that's really frustrating on all accounts. I just want to give a shout out to the staff there, that they did very well in communicating. Look, we screwed up, or we didn't like it. It wasn't really like that it was their fault. They're working with the Shopify back end to try and battle the bots, and they battled a lot of the bots away, but they just it's hard. And coming from the software side on it, it's you want a testable user interface, which means you need to go through the orders and test the whole thing so that people like you and me can actually make legit orders. And it's sad when things still go wrong, go south. And I'm glad that they recognized it and just called it out for what it was. It sucked. And yeah, I know like a couple weeks ago, I had tried to order some MNTD miners and I did not get through, even though I got all the way to the last screen and it didn't work out. So I see a comment on do I think the 1 gigabyte hotspots will eventually have to go away? So, and then the comment right after that was no, eventually all hotspots will become light spot hotspots. I think that that's true. I think that that's the right call. So what you like to do in software development is kind of test your conditions before they become, legit or become real. So this is a way, if you haven't noticed that those MNTD miners, minted miners, they have, even the gold ones go up to 8 gigabytes. So really and this is me speculating a little bit. I'm trying not to LARP here either, but I'm speculating that the 8 gigabytes will still be very, very helpful in backing up the blockchain and helping things kind of fill in the seams while we're in that intermediate spot. So having the 8 gigabyte one will if I was designing the network for uptime, then having some 8 gigabyte hotspots out there would be very, very helpful. Now, the big question is, can you upgrade? If you have a 1 gigabyte SD card, can you upgrade to an 8 gigabyte one yourself? I know that there's a way to flash and format those SD cards, and there's Helium gives those instructions on how to do that. And it can be done on the Helium, the OG Helium hotspots, and I believe the racks as well, because they're very similar hardware. I don't know what that means for the other manufacturers as well. So that's something like I would love to see a huge push is like if we need more memory on the network for us to function and get past these blockchain issues. I'd love to just say, hey, put out a call. We need people to upgrade their hotspots to X number of gigabytes, and that would be helpful. And so of course, well, I don't know. They haven't said it yet. Maybe they have on the sorry, good point. RAM is not equal to SD. Sorry, that is a good point. I keep saying RAM, and that's not the thing. You want the SD card, so it's used for storage. So thank you for the correction. Good call out. So if the 1 gigabyte ones are not working as well, or they continue getting stalled up, then basically that becomes like a light hotspot. So if you're thinking about having the light hotspots coming faster, that's actually a good sign that if they effectively cannot use those miners as part of of the network for storage, then they effectively become light hotspots and will kind of help light hotspots come online faster. Although I still don't think, at least the dates that I've heard, are still like March for light hotspots. So realizing that's only 4 months away. So are light hotspots going to be as profitable as the regular hotspots? So I believe that they will they do POC or not? I can't remember. I'd have to go back to my video and see what information, because I had a nice chart that you could consult. So go check out that one on light hotspots, full gateways. It was kind of around the validators time frame that you'd be able to check out that information. All right, we are at 30 minutes, and so another desire during season 2 is to keep those videos shorter as much as I can. So if you've got some questions, quick pop them off, and otherwise we will close this live stream up really shortly. Oh yeah, I gotta, while you're getting your questions down, if you follow me on Twitter, or if you are on Twitter, go check me out at Ed Ballou on Twitter. I've got a new profile picture that I just wanted to get something that was very much in the Helium vein of things, and so I commissioned this cartoony artwork to be done, and during that back and forth with the person doing the artwork, they said, "What kind of background do you want?" I'm like, I don't know, whatever. But then they started like kind of throwing out some other backgrounds that we could have on there, and like one was like Mars, another one was just in space, like one with me wearing an astronaut suit, and so then all of a sudden I'm like, oh man, this would be a really cool NFT project, just to kind of attract some more attention to Helium. So if you are interested, check out that pick. Obviously, we'd have to have some way, if we're gonna make these tradable and stuff. We're gonna drop my likeness. Maybe can be some custom ones if you get it commissioned and customized for you. But there might need to be some way to get it so that it would fit for anybody. But having different balloon colors to different antenna types to different colored helium balls. So if you haven't seen it, it's basically it's a wrecking ball, almost like a wrecking ball. At the bottom is the Helium logo, and then an antenna is coming out from there, and then basically it's kind of like Miley Cyrus. I'm positioned to be riding the wrecking ball that is Helium. So it's kind of a fun little graphic, and yeah. So check it out. If you like it, retweet it, get some attention to it. I haven't decided if there's an NFT project behind it yet. Of course, I got to manage my own personal backlog, but if there's enough excitement about it, I'll see about putting something together. So typically with these NFT projects, you try and do something worthwhile, worth mentioning, like, hey, not only am I getting some cool art, like we're making a difference. So I don't know if we would like burn the HNT or start a fund that, like, I don't know, buys hotspots for low income areas or something like that. I don't know. We'll see what happens in the feedback. and go from there. So, plus there's like all sorts of questions on where we would mint it and all that kind of stuff. I know I have my preferences, but we can talk about that later. So yeah, if you get feedback on that, throw that out there. Maybe I'll have that on another short video talking about that too. So thanks all for watching. Thanks for your questions. Thanks for being in the great community. And until next time, Carpe Diem Pestis, everyone.